My case for journaling. Hi, my name's Ed Riggins, but most people just call me Riggo, and welcome back to Thoughts for Thursday. At some point in the early 90s, I would say 92, 93, I started writing in one of these. It'd be an exaggeration to say I've been a daily journaler all those years, but more days than not, I've taken time to put pen to paper. As I look back on it, really I was doing three things. I was just documenting, I was processing, and I was learning. The documenting part's pretty straightforward. Who I saw, what I did, where I went. Processing, though, has been an important part of this for me as kind of a spiritual exercise and an exercise in personal growth. I would sit and write sometimes for 5 or 10 pages. What I realized is by the end of that entry, I was almost a different person than I was at the beginning. By the time I had gone through the whole arc of my emotional reaction to the events of the day, I had a better answer than I would have had at the beginning of that entry to the only question that really ever matters. What am I going to do next? So processing has been a big part of that. The last thing has just been learning. I would write down what I learned. I might have seen a video that day. Somebody might have thrown a curve to me, a question when I was making a presentation or giving a speech. Might have seen a documentary or read a book or an article or something. Something that I learned, I would take the time to write it down. There's something about writing it down that helps me to remember it. But I'll make one other comment, and I only picked up on this after decades of journaling. I looked back on my journal from maybe 15 or 20 years ago, just randomly picked one up, and I went on and on about this guy I'm going to call Bob. He did this, Bob said this, Bob said that. This had the impact on my life of Bob. It's all about Bob. And then I realized at the end of that I had a question. Who the hell is Bob? It was a great lesson for me in proportionality. I had almost defined myself by whatever was happening with me and this other character who was on the stage with me at the time. And then all these years later, I realized, come on, it wasn't that big a deal. So it's a great, great lesson, and a lesson I only got from putting pen to paper. I've got a couple of young guys in their 30s. One of them's a friend, one's a private coaching client. I was really encouraged to learn that both of them write in a journal every day, just like me, old school pen to paper. There's just something visceral about putting pen to paper that I found very helpful. Great to be with you. Hope you join me again next week. Thanks.
Doors closing.